Kia ora koutou. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 46 of Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Captain. Kia ora whānau. I'm back from the, well, not that you knew, folks, but yeah, I've had the COVID and I'm a late adopter. But it's all gone now, ish. So, yeah, here I am.
Good.
Normal.
Well done for getting COVID, because, you know,
Yes.
That's what the cool kids are doing.
It's taken me ages.
It's taken you a while, yeah, so well done there.
No.
Yeah.
Crikey.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. What we got on the show today?
what
We're a
have
couple of
we
days
got?
late, aren't we? We normally do this on a Friday,
a bit
but
late.
it's Sunday.
Yeah, I wasn't quite, I wasn't quite ready on a Friday. So what indeed have we got? We've got a lot of TV, I can see from here. We've got a bit of radio, and we've got the furniture of the stars. That's not one of mine, so I'll work out what that's all about soon. And any other old stuff we can think of while we're doing it, as per normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
off we go. What do you want to shock us with first?
I've got a list here. I've
on,
been spending a lot of time this week doing Sudokus and cryptic crosswords.
Oh, yeah.
I love a Sudoku and a cryptic crossword, so but I don't really do them very often. So I've been learning Sudoku. God, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of technique. I knew how to do Sudoku, but you know, I can do an expert one now without blinking. Really, it's all about processes and techniques and tricks. It's all about that, really. It's all patterns and all that. So spent far too much time doing that, and the cryptic crosswords as well, which I do enjoy, but they take a bit of work, don't they? I've been running as well. I've sort of let myself get a bit out of shape. I was running quite a bit earlier in the year, then I had a bit of not really an injury, but I had some foot problems. So I couldn't run, but I'm back now. My feet are all good. And it's good. I've been out probably 6 times in the last couple of weeks. So, it's all right. So that's good.
Well, there you go.
But that's about the most useful thing I've done. Last night I got round to the last episode of the Traitors UK. God, it's good. It's gripping stuff. I mean, I know it's reality TV and it's all a bit of a joke, but the psychology of it, these 12 people go in there, they don't know if they're going to be a traitor or not. They get chosen by the show to be a traitor, and they have to not get caught. And if they can get through to the end without being caught, they win all the money. It's about 100 grand, pounds. Yeah. But if they can all get, evicted, then the good guys win the money. So, watched the last episode last night. Really good, really, really good. Big twist at the end. So that's right good. That I like that. And new series has just dropped this week of Sex Education. I think it's series 4. I think, which I haven't watched any of them yet, but anticipating that. But I think you've had a bit of
feedback already
in your house, haven't you?
Members of this house, a member of this house. My daughter is deeply into it, season 3, and she says it's a bit heavier than.
Is it season 3 or 4? Is it 3 or 4?
Is it 3?
I'm not sure.
However far it's gone.
Yeah, might be 3. Yeah. Anyway,
see, folks, we do research before we talk about this shit. And anyway. I'm told it's a little bit more challenging and slightly more serious in nature than previous humor-filled episodes. So there you go. I've only watched a few of the first series.
So you haven't watched them all?
No. Not as family or anything like that.
You should.
Series 1, I was kind of
really good. It's really good. Great messages in there. It's it's good. So we'll get stuck into the new series, 3 or 4, whatever it is.
There you go.
Hopefully this week. Now the Traitors is out of the way. What about yourself? What you've been watching or doing?
It? Well, I don't know. It's somehow you stumble across this thing. What should I watch now? And it might even be an advert, because you're sitting there on the TVNZ Plus or something like that, and watching something else or catching up on something that you've missed that particular day. And of course, most of the adverts on TVNZ Plus are for TVNZ Plus. Yeah. And this thing popped up, and it was Rainn Wilson and the Geography of Bliss. And if you don't know who Rainn Wilson is, folks, he's in The Office, the American version.
Yes, he's Dwight.
Dwight, is it? Dwight Schrute.
Dwight Schrute. He's, for those that have only ever seen the British Office, it's the Gareth character in the British Office, the sort of geeky, nerdy idiot one, yeah.
And I learned today that he's won an Emmy 3 times for doing that.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Best supporting actor.
He's brilliant.
Anywho,
yeah.
So he's obviously using his clout and being a sort of little bit depressive himself, I think, has gone to find out all about countries that are supposed to be the happiest places in the world, or not the happiest places in the world, and find out why they are.
Yeah.
And whilst a good proportion of this is office style shenanigans, that kind of thing, to increase the comedy, there is an awful lot of serious discussion and philosophical points made in it. There are 5 episodes, of which 3 have aired so far. So he went to Iceland, which is, super happy. They're all into it. Bulgaria, which is obviously, Eastern Europeans still recovering from lack of communist rule and state support. And this week's was Ghana. I said, let's go to an African country. And he discovers all sorts of things. The Icelandic philosophy, which is, I'm going to mispronounce this because it's Icelandic, Teta Redust, I think it was pronounced. Petter Redast, if you want to read it in English, is a sort of philosophy they have, which means everything is going to work out in the end. And this is the kind of every Icelander will know this and feel it. So that's, this is one reason why. Oh, well, it'll be all right tomorrow. That kind of thing. Yeah. Look out the window. It's going to be fine. But that was just a small part of why Iceland is like that. Ghanaians, whilst they're generally down about their lives they're living, and a huge proportion of the nation lives in poverty. Strangely, as to a man, they're almost universally up about the future. It's just Ghana is wonderful, and it will continue to get better and all that. It's I was quite caught by this. So I thought, well, okay, we'll just watch it. 5 episodes, they're quite short. I'll just fill in part of the week. But I ended up enjoying it much more than I thought I would.
That one's passed me by. I've not seen any shorts for that or anything.
No, exactly. It is on. It isn't just on streaming. It is on the telly.
Right.
But yeah, I think it just might have dropped underneath the radar. And if you didn't recognise, in fact, it's hard to recognise Rainn Wilson because he's older than he was in most of the Office things.
Well, that was 20 years ago. The Office, remember?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, more than that, probably.
It may even be in passing. If you were engrossed on your phone and watching the advert on the television, you wouldn't have even recognised him.
Yeah. I've been following him for quite a few years on socials and whatnot, because he's a really cool guy. He's a animal rights, environmental campaigner type person, and he's just really cool. So I like him a lot. So I'm definitely going to watch that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, good shout. Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I know when you go onto the TVNZ app, you find all sorts of stuff in there, because they import stuff from all over the world, don't they? You get American stuff in there, British stuff, and all kinds of stuff.
Tons.
So I'll have a look at that for sure. It sounds good. Good one. Good.
Yeah.
RNZ National.
Yes.
Which is a radio station.
The serious radio station.
Well, sort of. I really like RNZ National. Okay. That's my go-to radio station, because it is a bit. I think it's got. I don't know if I compared it to radio that I know. I'd say it's somewhere between Radio 2 and Radio 4 in the BBC. Yeah. But it's not Radio 3.
Seems fair.
Not numerically speaking, but it's got.
For that, you have Radio NZ Concert, which is
exactly
the 3 version.
Yeah. So there's lots of spoken word stuff, but there's also some pretty cool music on there as well. And Charlotte Rainn, her show, I love her show on a Saturday.
She's great.
Music 101 and all that. Anyway, going about my business on a Sunday morning, Sunday is chores day in our house, really. So it involves me going off to the supermarket on a Sunday morning. So I spend a bit of time in the car, and I always listen to the Sunday morning show. I think it's called Sunday Morning.
Yeah.
And it's always fascinating. They interview guests. I mean, for example, this morning, excuse me, I was just going on my screen. So we've had a guest called Anna Cornad. Why do we rarely feel our age? Then we had something about how much is too much when it comes to showering. Then we had, do we still need to separate laundry? Okay. Then we got Media Watch, which is talking about the election and stuff like that today. We've got Call In Home, Brett Sargent in Calgary, Alberta. So it's the New Zealand curling team that have been adopted by a retirement home in Calgary. We've got the Rugby World Cup.
They wouldn't be. Let me guess, would they be called the Black Stones or something like that?
Oh, I can't see this, but yeah, you're probably not far off. Yeah. Then we had a Rugby World Cup update, and then we had Arthur C. Brooks, who's an author. I don't know if you know him, but I'm definitely going to read some of his books. He sounds brilliant. He's a Harvard professor, and he's written some books about mental health and happiness and around science, with a science perspective. Fascinating stuff. Then something about nutrition. Then something about a report from the Asian Games, and then this guy talking about how our brains don't die when we die. It could be 5, 10, even 15 minutes. Our brains are still alive, even though we're technically dead, and all that. So that's a kind of sort of thing you might expect to hear on this radio show.
While you're doing the vacuuming.
While I'm around Pack and Save with my headphones in, and that's kind of what I'm listening to. So I just find it fascinating. And, I've been catching snippets of it for as long as I've been here, really. But I never knew who the host was. Never knew at all. So I just looked it up. Went onto the RNZ website. The show's available as a podcast, by the way, if you're interested in all that sort of stuff. It's someone called Jim Mora, who I've never heard of. I don't. Yeah, but you have, right? You know Jim. Mora.
It would be imprudent to say my feelings about Jim, but I don't know. It's just what's a acceptable term? Just a bit of an old biddy sometimes, but he's an experienced man, and he's driven that show for a long time, and he's been on the radio for a long time.
Right.
When it comes to generally speaking, when it comes to RNZ National, I'm on board with Kim Hill, who's unfortunately retiring.
Yeah.
I think, and Susie Ferguson is great, and Charlotte Rainn, the aforementioned Charlotte Rainn.
Yeah. Catherine Ryan as well, of course.
Yeah. Not so much, perhaps, but those are my particular favourites. Let's put it that way. But Jim can drive a show. I'll give him that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I like his interviews. I like that he interviews all these different people from all over the world, and I like the way he does it. So, a little radio tip for you there, folks.
No problem. No problem at all. Yeah. So what? Yeah. What else have I got? Well, following on from last week's Māori Language Week, I dove into in my illness and my stupor, lying on the sofa. I did watch, as you suggested, the Hangi to Hongi, couple of those again, which are really great as a sort of simple introduction to the world. And I also watched Moko the World, which is a couple of episodes of that, which is basically about tattooing and what they mean to people.
You're talking about the Māori cultural tattoos, not
absolutely.
Not a Spurs badge on your arm or something.
No, not that. Definitely not that. That's and the first couple of those, they were as a good general introduction. I thought could have done with more information, but I'm not that deeply into the series, so maybe sort of more info is coming soon about what it means to the people who are having it done. I could you got the impression of what it meant to them personally to have it done, and they're far now because everybody gathers around and hackers explode when it's finished. It's just a fantastic thing. But the individual meaning of some of the things I felt were only lightly gone over. But I guess it varies from person to person.
Yeah, and different iwi as well, I suppose. Interesting.
It is. there's one perhaps rather unlikely guy is helping me work through some of this stuff, because he's on Instagram and he gets asked dumb questions like I would ask, or by all sorts of not dumb questions, pretty good questions a lot of the time. And he does little reels on Instagram to explain things. And he is to Edmonds, and he is the bass player for a Māori death metal band called Alien Weaponry. So some of his reels are about death metal and heavy metal in general and music, which is, all good down the line. That's pretty great. But he is Māori, obviously, and he answers his viewers' questions that they might have about any aspect of his life, his family, and that kind of thing. And he answers them in a very general way, an easy to understand way, and also defers to other people if he thinks that they would have different opinions or more knowledge than him. So he'll say, check this guy out because he will tell you far more about that. And he has Moko, he has facial Moko. He's great. They're great, to be honest. And I'm going to put a link to a Radio New Zealand, there we go again, a Radio New Zealand sort of web series about alien weaponry. When a couple of years ago, when they had the bass player before they had two Edmonds, Ethan and Trembath, I think his name was, and they did a European tour, and the amazing sight of mosh pits singing their lyrics in Tereo in the middle of Slovenia or Wacken in Germany. It's the whole crowd is going off. Singing the songs, and it just blew me away, and them away as well. They've done 2 albums now, I think. The first one especially is especially fine. Yeah, great. I'm going to put a link to that because it's worth watching.
Yeah,
it's worth. And they're all at the time when they went to Europe, they were impossibly young. They started in a band when they were, I don't know, 12, 13 or something like that up north. So they very quickly got really good. So another part of it was the fact that, good God, look at these 16-year-olds absolutely slaying these audiences. It was really tremendous stuff.
Great stuff.
I'm going to link to that one, and that kind of follows on from last week's stuff. I'll link up to 2 Edmonds' Instagram as well. And just a quick word, for those into metal, there's a band called Shepherd's Rainn over here, who are a Samoan heavy metal band, and they're pretty fine as well. Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest heavy metal fan, but these two bands, Shepherd's Rainn and Alien Weaponry, are up there, and certainly a world class entertainment.
There you go, folks. A recommendation for a Samoan heavy metal band you didn't know you needed. Get it all on this show, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where else are you going to get Samoan heavy metal recommendations, eh? Samoa, probably.
Maybe Samoa, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, good one. Right, speaking of death metal bands, there was a band called the Beatles back in the 60s. I don't know if we've ever mentioned them before.
We probably have.
Yeah.
Can't remember which episode.
Which episode we didn't mention. This is kind of Beatles related. So I sort of subscribe or follow whatever this feed on Instagram and Facebook, I think, and Twitter, X, called BBC Archive. I don't know if you follow that, Captain, on anything, but
it is.
They put these little clips up of stuff from back in the day, from days of yore, and this clip came up earlier in the week, a week or so ago, and it was Ringo Starr in 1971. It was Ringo appearing on Blue Peter, being interviewed by John Noakes.
With nothing to do after the Beatles.
It looked like he'd been relaxing for a year.
Yeah.
He looked well
sure he did.
Relaxed. Yeah, he was quite well relaxed at that period in his life, I think, Ringo. So he looked very relaxed on the show. He went on to talk about his new furniture collection. So I didn't know this, but he just started designing furniture. And he formed a company with Robin Cruikshank. Does that name ring a bell to you? I think real Beatles nerds would know because he was quite aligned to the somewhere. Apple. Yeah, he's an interior designer, and he went on to do great things like palaces for sultans of Brunei or whatever. Anyway, he was a designer. He teamed up with Ringo, and they formed a company called ROR, and they designed furniture. And it was kind of, I suppose, if you think this is 1971, so it's all kind of steel and perspex and, you know, it's all that stuff. Yeah. And it's fine. And Ringo's designed these like executive desk toys, you know, like the clacking ball thing, you know, what are they called?
Yeah.
Newton's Cradle.
Cradle.
That sort of stuff with things going round, then going back to the top, all that kind of stuff. He was obviously so bored, you know, and so relaxed. Anyway, I watched it and I just thought it was hilarious. The interview was hilarious. Just Ringo, just hilarious. And I wanted to really talk about it like that. But then the next day, I think, an episode of Top Flight Time Machine podcast dropped, and it was called Ringo's Furniture was the title of the episode. So they got to it before us, and there's no way I could cover it as well as those guys can.
Yeah.
So we'll put a link to that episode of Top Flight Time Machine where they talk about the interview itself in the way only they can. There is probably some spicy language in there, so just to let you know. But we'll put a link to that episode of TFTM because they can talk about it much better than I ever could. But well worth a watch and well worth subscribing to BBC Archive. You find some great stuff in there. There's often a bit of Fred Dibner content, you know, and or blue. There's a lot of Blue Peter content in there.
There's a lot of Blue Peter.
Yeah, climbing up Nelson's column with just a rope around their waist. Yeah,
we've seen that one.
Yeah, all that. So
it's great.
So that was quite good. I don't know whatever happened to all that furniture that Ringo designed, but I bet it's worth a lot of money now. Well, if it's still out there.
A Ringo original.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe it all fell to bits and people chucked it away.
Well, the one thing, it was like a coffee table, and it was just plain stainless steel across the top, but the end pieces were the front grille from a Rolls Royce.
Oh.
Like actually the front grille from a Rolls Royce. One on each end, a bit. Yeah,
they probably got in trouble about that because
Rolls Royce.
Did
they were from Rolls Royce. These parts,
okay.
They got in touch.
It's Ringo.
Yeah, no,
that's that star chap here.
They're not. They weren't counterfeit or anything. But I bet if that's still around, that's a one of a kind. I think. I bet that's worth a bit of money.
Yeah,
wherever that is now.
Some private collection somewhere.
Yeah, or it's maybe Barbara's still got it, or Ringo still got it. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all I had on my list today, on my agenda.
So, there's only kind of one more thing that we've forgotten it over the last couple of episodes, and that was the widely touted return of the Rolling Stones, which I think we did. Did we briefly mention that?
I don't even think we did.
I don't even think we did mention. I was gonna. There were several episodes where I thought I should talk about Rolling Stones coming back and doing a song and the new album, Acne Diamonds.
Yeah.
Which apparently is broken glass.
Yeah, after a burglary. Yeah.
After burglary in it.
Yeah.
And to say a couple of things about that. And one is the sleeve to Hackney Diamonds album is probably the worst bit of art I've ever seen for quite some time. I think it may well. I don't know if they're trying to be flash. And they may well be trying to be flashed by sort of AI generating it or something. I haven't checked whether it has an actual designer or whether they just threw it at Chat GPT or whatever and said, right, it's a heart, it's a diamonds, it's a broken thing. With the Rolling Stones, could you design it art, please? And this thing fell out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just looks like one of their relations has gone mad with Photoshop.
I don't think I've seen it. I'll have to have a look.
No, but your actual song, the lead, Angry, it's called.
Angry.
In it. It's got all the
It's the Rolling Stones,
parts.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's got all the constituent parts. It's got Daryl Jones. Although I had read that Ronnie Wood did the bass these days, and I thought, does he?
Oh.
No, surely not. Maybe he does in the studio. Because
I did hear the other day that Daryl Jones has played with the Rolling Stones longer than Bill Wyman did.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
and he's probably better.
Yeah, maybe.
As a bass player.
I think he only got the gig because he had an amp, didn't he?
Have you played? Yeah. Bill, yeah. He had a big one. Yeah. And he had lots of other ones to give out to them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with a rhythm section like Daryl Jones and Steve Jordan, you're gonna just be able to go on for years.
Yeah.
I don't know they have.
Yeah.
But as long as they're standing and you've got those guys behind you,
Yeah.
You've got two guitarists, so either Ron or Keith is going to get it right at some point during the song.
Yeah.
And it's the Stones. It is what it is.
Not sure about the video. Have you seen the video?
I know you're not
Anthony
sure about
Clapp
the video.
women hanging out the back of cars and
Actresses.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name now.
yeah.
Is her name Sydney?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
Can't remember.
Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I thought the billboardy thing. See, there's maybe some more AI. The billboard thing they did where they drive past. She drives past the billboards, and it's scenes from the Rolling Stones as of years gone by.
But singing.
He's singing the song, folks.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Jack
definitely
singing
AI
the
right
new
there.
song.
Definitely. Yeah.
So they've stuffed some AI into that as well as the hideous sleeve.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out the sleeve for Hackney Diamonds, put on your sunglasses and get your.
So we've only got the lead single out at the moment, right? The album's not out yet, is it?
I haven't even looked. You see,
Okay.
My Rolling Stones love, if I have it, kind of expired after Some Girls, I think, which was the last one I really thought was absolutely super. That was 78.
Yeah.
But that said, I went to see them in 1990 something on the Voodoo Lounge tour and thought they were pretty splendid. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Right. Well, when the album is available, or if it is, we'll have a little bit of a dive and do a little bit of a review, shall we?
To have at least one listen, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. I'll do the call to action then. So please remember, if you're watching this, if you look down there's a button that says subscribe. If you haven't done it already, please do that. If you're listening to this, there's a button where you can't see I'm pointing somewhere, probably, that says follow or subscribe, or depending on where you're listening. So please do that. You can also share on any of our socials that you see, or follow us on our socials as well, Instagram and maybe some new social platforms.
Who knows?
They're just coming up all over the place. Mastodon and Threads and Blue Sky is the latest one. And
we're going to tell you folks that if Elon does end up charging for being on X, then we're not going to be on it.
No, because it would cut right into our profits, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
That we make from this. What are our profits? Hang on. Yeah. Okay. So it costs us money to make this pod. Maybe we need one of those tip jar buy us a coffee things.
Yeah. Sneak up on me on Blue Sky and I'll give you some exclusive highlights or something like that. I don't know. We'll work something out. Yeah.
But we want to get our listener numbers up. I think our listener numbers have grown a wee bit recently since we've been doing the video ones, for sure, but we'd like more. So if you've got any suggestions what we could do, folks, or if you want to come on and be interviewed, you've got something interesting to say about what you think we might find interesting, or our listeners, then drop us a line. Then we'll interview you.
Do it.
And get you on the show. That'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, well, let's go, because it's time to go. So say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
See you later, folks. Take care.
Au revoir.